My guest in our last episode of Suds Search for 2020 is Justin Sanger. Justin is the Chief Revenue Officer and Equity Investor at OMG National. For over 2 decades, Justin has been a pioneer in small business digital marketing. He founded LocalLaunch back in 2003. LocalLaunch offered paid search, SEO, and landing page optimization services way back in the early 2000s, just as Google was emerging as the leading advertising channel for SMBs. LocalLaunch was acquired by RH Donnelley in 2006. I started my career there shortly after the acquisition. It was a great place to get started. You'll find LocalLaunch alums like me at agencies all over Chicago and beyond. I witnessed in those early days that Justin really understood the unique challenges small businesses face when trying to promote their products or services. I'm going to start our conversation by talking about the problems small businesses face today. In short, Justin believes they're being sold the wrong products. Justin was remarkably prescient about the shift of marketing dollars from print marketing to digital in the early 2000s. Today, he believes another shift is beginning to occur. Justin is all in on local service ads, or LSAs for short. LSAs are a very disruptive new form of advertising that gives small businesses a Google guaranteed badge. The ads stick at the very top of the search engine results page. I'm going to ask Justin all about LSAs and the ways that small businesses can use them to their advantage. Join me for a conversation with Justin Sanger, a true trailblazer in local search and social. I couldn't think of a better guest to help us close out the year. We're going to talk all about small business marketing, why LSAs represent a massive opportunity, and we'll chat a little bit about Pittsburgh Steelers fandom. Justin Sanger, welcome to Suds Search. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark. It's so great to see you again.
This is a big one for me. I am so happy. I need to let the audience in on a little bit of a backstory here. So Justin started LocalLaunch, and in 2007, when I was just starting in my career, I sort of stumbled into a position. I thought I was going in for a sales job, and I ended up becoming a junior PPC analyst, and my career has been, it just took off from there. So it's really cool to now reconnect with you. I started in 2007, I probably worked there until 2009. So it's been about 12, 13 years since I've had a chance to talk to you like this. So welcome to the show, Justin.
Mark, that's unbelievable to hear. And what that means to me is that you have 12 to 13 years of experience in this unbelievable market. And to watch, what you're doing and how you're contributing, to the community as a whole, in particular, has been very inspiring, Mark. So it's great to reconnect with you. I love that story. And now it's about the future, right? Now we're here, and what's next?
Well, this is going to be fun. One of the things about you that I like, and I've heard you talk a little bit about your new project, but you really do understand the problem, or maybe it's better to say the problems that SMBs are facing in this landscape. Before you can even come up with a solution, you have to understand the problems. What are some of those problems that SMBs are facing as they try and figure out marketing in this day and age?
They've been sold the wrong products, fundamentally. And it's a shame. If you look at the bulk of the channel, when I say the channel, I'm referring to those who own the majority of the SMB relationships. The products are still stuck in, we're talking about location-based businesses here, Mark. The products are still stuck in the map, Yext, tired world, social media marketing, reputation management. And that's how you're doing Google these days. These Uber tools that make it easy for you to post, through one utility and hit LI and T and FB and G and what, that's somehow in the best interest of the customer. These dashboards that make it easy. Sorry, the products are pointed in the wrong direction. It's been happening for the last 10 years. And it's time to course correct. And there's a way by which to accomplish that. The leaders are making the pathway very clear. I'm sure we'll get to that here.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You're at this company, OMG National. I wonder if you could tell our audience a little bit about the business and how you ended up starting as their chief revenue officer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I also am a equity investor and a now owner in the organization. I like what I saw. And the chief revenue officer. So yeah, we're going out here to we're playing ball, and we feel like small businesses need to be told another story. We feel like there's a different product set out there. We feel like there's going to be a significant transition of dollars from one product to some products to others, and from incumbents who still somehow own these dollars to more nimble, agile organizations that can work in the better interest of the SMBs we serve. Back to your question, look, it's been an interesting road. I mean, from LocalLaunch, we did a number of interesting things from the LocalLaunch acquisition. We sprung out there and we purchased business.com, which was an incredibly interesting acquisition that ultimately, we'll save that for a different time. I moved on from Dex and RH Donnelley in 2009 after my management contract was done after the LocalLaunch acquisition, and I started to really study social, Mark. Social was very important, intriguing, and I brought back some of the gang like Aaron Lachetta, Corey Lanu, and we started building again. We were building local social at the time in 11, and we built something called the Advocate Engine, which was, very interesting. It was about fostering and rewarding, your advocates for small business, your small business fans, and finding the people that are actually contributing to, spreading and referring business your way, and liking, promoting your content, and finding those. This is 11 though, we were too early. We then went from that and we said, okay, let's solve the bigger puzzle then. That's the consumer side. We went out, we purchased Support Local, and we began this very interesting, pursuit of the consumer side of the equation, which is local recommendations from people that you know and trust, which is still, an unsolved space. But the consumer side is a lot of friction all of a sudden. Like I'm a small business advertising guy, and all of a sudden I'm playing in the consumer space, up against people like Nextdoor with, nearly $1 billion in capitalization. That's what it takes to win the consumer market. So it's been a learning process, man. And it's been fantastic, the social side of things. In a lot of different ways, we have fantastic products these days that are right for the business. I went and studied blockchain for a while, and I am enamored by what I learned, and actually got some early seed money for projects in the local blockchain space, where we're looking at and continue to look at small business identity. Invariably, when antitrust is finished, the question of who owns business's identity online will again come up. But that's in years ahead. But there's some fascinating work being done there. And then I saw something, Mark. I saw something, brother. And I refer to it as the trust layer. Okay. And it was what Google was doing in local, quietly, carefully, but in a concerted manner. And I found OMG, who was doing work in the space. And it wasn't a small company. OMG is a 30-year-old company, 90 people in the space. And I looked at the two and I said, let's do this. And we've been at this for over 2 years, really, really focused on Google's trust layer and what's happening there. And we'll unpack that hopefully here in the course of this conversation, brother.
Well, it sounds like you mentioned at one point this shift, that there's going to be dollars that are going to shift from kind of one area to another. And I imagine that we're talking about LSAs and Google guaranteed products, that this is something you are keen to get into in the coming years. What about it excites you so much?
Oh boy, what's up? and why am I alone? Look, brother, AdWare, if you look at the SERP, you and I, 06, you said you joined LocalLaunch, beginning of 7. That SERP that we were looking at in 7, brother, right? That SERP, the local SERP, right? The explicit local query that we are looking at, it hasn't changed. Really, it's AdWords, it's maps, and it's organic. right? They
That's
played
true.
around with names, and great. GMB is 14. They renamed things. They got their act. It was an identity crisis, and they got their act together, and they finally became GMB. And it's schizophrenic if you look at the history. Actually, it's the same damn SERP though. 15 years, brother. The same SERP. Now all of a sudden, something new comes along. It's called local service ads. Not only does it come along, but it sits on top of the SERPs for critical queries in the home and professional services space. Out of nowhere, 15 years, first major change. So anytime you see this nature of a shift, number one, you got to see whether it's real or not, right? Is it Google messing around, or is this for real? And it's, my friend, for real.
Yeah.
It's very real. So with this shift, is what is going to happen is you're going to see a tremendous transition of dollars. The way I say it, in the next couple of years, you're going to see a transition of $1 billion. Listen to me, over to local, into new products. Okay, and where is it going to come from? One may ask, because it can't be additive, right? No SMB has that money. Where is it going to come from? Well, we have clear signs, and that's run an explicit local query for a mature LSA, local service ads, for mature local service ads. And if you don't see AdWords go away at the start, refresh at least 5 times.
And it'll go away. Yeah.
Our data is it's running at 20% in certain areas already, and nobody understands it. What I'm suggesting to you is quite significant. Not only am I telling you that the money is going to new products, but I'm telling you that the value of the current product is going to be degraded at a significant value, which is going to force those who own those legacy products to respond. What excites me about it, you ask, these things, talk about the transfer of dollars. We got a lot more, brother, so fire away.
Well, that's fantastic. I think a couple of things about LSAs that I'm wondering if you could kind of dispel some myths. So there's some things that people tell us. It's hard to get started. You got to have insurance. You have to have proof of insurance. You have to have go through a background check. And small businesses are notoriously difficult to get organized and to make this a priority. They're not always shown. They're not available in every vertical, right? So, what are some of these? How do you dispel some of these myths about LSAs that you might hear?
Myths. It sounds like an excuse to me. Let me ask you a question, Mark. If you're a business in the home service space, do you want to be trusted by Google or untrusted by Google, my friend?
I want to be trusted.
Yes, sir. You want to be trusted, because being trusted by Google not only gives you that green badge, it's not only that significant, consumer signal, but Google backs the transaction.
Right.
You do business with these businesses, Google's got your back financially. So yeah, you're right, brother. We've been struggling for years with the approval process. It's run by a group called TTEC, a very interesting group based out of Colorado, a multi-billion-dollar public company. They do the dirty work, outsource work, great company, don't get me wrong, but they do the dirty work for the majors, the big guys, all the outsourced stuff, because they're tech companies. So like approval processes and sales, they ran the outsourced stuff. And they've got 2 primary layers of outsourcing here. They've got TTEC, which is on the approval side, which is everything associated with background checks, licensing checks, insurance checks, and that gets sticky and messy. And it's been, you should see my bruises and cuts from fighting with this process. More on that in a second. And then once you're approved and you're up on the LSA side, you've got Cognizant Technology. This group here is operating primarily out of Michigan, and they are helping businesses to work. Let me just say this. I'm trying to be polite here. They're helping businesses understand how to work with the new ad unit, which is, we'll get to, which is, it's extraordinarily awkward. But speaking of awkward, the approval process, Mark, is so damn awkward. Imagine, listen, just think about how these people have been sold marketing product to this point. Okay, think about whether you're
Such
an
a good point.
agency at your home in your underwear, or whether you're Haibu and Thrive. You know, you've been sold, and now you're being, hey, we need to get information about, you know, your field workers, the one that may have a felony. We're gonna have to run background checks if you want to send them into homes now. Why? Why was it so crazy? It's so awkward at a number of different levels, brother. And the issue is actually acute. The issue is actually critical at both the SMB and the channel level. And there's a tremendous burden. My friend, many will not survive this transition.
And then
in local, this is a big space. And, you know, those would be, you know me, Mark, but I'm local, you know, I'm a local search guy through and through, you know, local search social.
Yeah. And so, I mean, one of the things that's hovering over all of us right now is this pandemic that we're going through, and we're looking for some way to differentiate ourselves. And the pond is shrinking. There may not be as many customers for these small businesses. This seems like a logical way for people to stand out. Are you trying to counsel these small businesses and how they can use this to their advantage during this difficult time?
There's a number of different considerations there in your question. COVID as a layer is a really super important layer, brother, to the SMB space, and we should address that. And then, but you're asking if LSA is this useful layer right now for businesses as like a quick way potentially to get customers and participate. And it's the most fascinating thing. In some areas, we're literally turning on some of the most amazing markets you can think of. The biggest cities and the biggest verticals, we're literally turning the inventory on, whereby our advertisers have to go down because they're just getting too many calls. Wow. And then you've got layers that are extraordinarily competitive, where you've seen like manufacturer deals done. If you want to see this, go look at HVAC SERPs, major markets where you saw Train, the major manufacturing here, go do deals, really deals that, look, over time, I'm going to be speaking openly about and against some of these deals because they're problematic. But what it does, Mark, is it dumps a bunch of advertisers into this LSA layer. Well, this LSA layer is very, very complex. You need to know what you're doing. Number one, you're bound to different types of actions as an advertiser. You're required to do different things. And it's expensive. You know, finally, Google's now at the point of transaction. So calls, when we talk transactions, it's calls, messages, and bookings, right? And so to participate at that layer, you got to be ready. And hopefully we'll get back to that and what drives that algorithm. But your point's very important for this reason. No, we've been selling this product successfully. It's the hottest thing. Well, look, we do extraordinarily well. But you know what we do? We say, hey, LSA, I see it's shiny and bright up there, but there's a corollary to LSA. There's another layer to LSA that's really, really super important here, and that's GMB.
Right.
So back to your first question to me, and that was, what's wrong with the, you know, what's the major challenge with the SMB? I'm saying they're being sold the wrong product. There are products out there that are doing a really good job driving transactions on GMB. And if you want to understand LSA, you need to understand GMB. This is not speculation. This is not speculation. This is core data architecture. This is core infrastructure. And look, I have to be careful here with you a bit, Mark. This is like me talking to you in LocalLaunch in 2003.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Well, I'm fascinated by it. Like, I want to I want to get deeper onto that transaction idea. So
Yeah.
one of the things that we're starting to see, this is a somewhat recent thing, is that we're starting to see attorneys get these LSAs. Attorneys are used to paying. We looked at an attorney in Detroit, and they have a location in Grand Rapids. In one of their campaigns, they were spending on average $500 per click. So on average, each click was costing them $500. Now you have a different sort of transaction model, at least as of the time we're airing this, that might be a little bit different for attorneys. How does a transaction model work, and how does it better than traditional AdWords? I would especially say for attorneys.
I just got a review from one of our criminal defense attorneys, and I haven't even read it. And I would be willing to pull it up right now, knowing that this guy's doing well, and read it to tell you what's happening on the front line there. This gentleman is a criminal attorney who has been with some pretty big names, and who overnight is putting his marketing dollars to work for him. In terms of the complexity of the transaction, I think you're getting at, are they able to understand what the inventory is and be able to adapt to it, because we've spent so long within the AdWords, maps, and organic environment, just within search, notwithstanding the rest of the stack, right? The answer is no, they're not understanding it very well. The answer is a lot like the early days of AdWords. You just had a lot of people jump in, and it took a while for us to even understand what it was that we were trying to, the levers that we were trying to push. And the science ultimately that came from, the ad serving within the pay-per-click environment on Google, we know it was substantial. And to think that this layer is any differently is a mistake. There is a lot of talk about this layer being simple and this layer being for self-provisioning, that this layer purposefully is intended to purposely squeeze out the channel. I can tell you stories that will change your mind. Let me just say it that way.
Wow. Well, I don't want to, I could talk about LSAs with you all day. I feel like I'm back, like you said, in LocalLaunch when we were talking about, at that time, it was controversial when you would say newspapers are dying, yellow pages are dying, everyone's moving digital, and people would be like, this Chicago Tribune's here, they're not going anywhere. And you were prescient then. Before I let you go, I want to ask you a little bit. This is the hot service that you guys offer. What else are you guys offering at OMG National? I want to give you a chance to just really tell us about everything that you guys are doing for small businesses.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do, Mark. I'm not here to plug my business per se. Here's what I will say. We spend a lot of time working on this product and working directly on this product with SMBs and really getting to understand it. And at the end of the day, once adoption comes, methodology follows. So we start with methodology, and then we build apps. And once you have something that sells so well, like it was doing at LocalLaunch, right? We had something that was selling so well. I mean, our stuff was just flying. Our stuff was singing, right? Well, our stuff is singing again. And it's been a long time, and it's taken a lot to be able to create a condition by which that could even happen, brother. And when it gets to that point, the question as a business owner becomes a little different, right? It's like, well, now that we have it and we know it's in demand, where do we want to push it? How do we, because I want to get it in SMB's hands, right? We want to be the one to deliver the solution. Number one, I feel a strong sense of responsibility to the SMB and to this marketplace to continue to deliver on the value side of this equation. You know, there's a lot of people getting freaking rich here, you know, and the poor SMB, by and large, is still struggling. We have to look at ourselves in the face. It's always about quality to me. And so, put more simply, we're going to go big, you know, we're going to partner up, you know. And the question is just with who, because some people aren't going to survive. So you got to be careful who you choose to partner with.
Yeah.
So we're being slow and careful, really slow and careful. And, you know, we're a big company. We're growing a 40% clip mark. We are wildly profitable. We're hiring. That's what I'll tout. We're hiring. You know how I feel about people.
Yeah. God bless you, man. That's awesome. Man.
It's all about people. Yeah. So that's what I'll tout about our company. So we're gonna move forward with this. You know, we could have talked about Facebook today. I would love that. You know, we continue our conversation. It's nice to reconnect with you, brother. The fact that Greg Gifford was the conduit, we got to do a shout out to Greg.
Yeah, thanks for making this connection, Greg. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I got to ask you a couple of questions, not work related. This is usually where Greg will throw me a question and give me no context, but I actually think I know you back in the day a little better than Greg might. So the first question, how are the Steelers going to finish the season? How's Michigan football going to finish the season?
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna not answer the latter part. I'm not going to talk about Michigan football.
All right, the Steelers are the hottest team in football.
I'm a Big Ten fan, and you know, I grew up right next to Michigan State, actually, in Grand Rapids. You named Grand Rapids earlier, you know, East Grand Rapids, Michigan. My Steelers at 8-0, I think, are in the driver's seat. And I really appreciate you saying that. We have a hell of a defense, and as long as Ben stays healthy, then we have a really good shot. You know, there's some strong teams there, but this is one of the strongest, not the strongest, most complete Steelers team I've seen. And you know what? I have been talking to this for a long time, and nobody's ever asked me that question, brother. And I love you for it.
Oh, he's got weapons all over the field. He's got this new toy with the kid out of Notre Dame. So
Claypool. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then
a lot of weapons.
My last question for you, and you mentioned you're from Grand Rapids. Is it true that you went to high school with the guy who wrote American Pie, and that it may or may not be about your school?
That's true. Yeah.
I remember the story.
Right. Yeah. Adam Hurst, wrote it, and it's about our class, 1991, East Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a true story. I don't ever tell that story. Where are you getting this shit from, brother?
I feel like you and I had some bar nights or something like that. I can remember.
Oh, yeah. Which is why I'm drinking kombucha these days, 20 years later.
Well, listen, I got to tell you to your face. You started this company. I went to work there. My career has been amazing. My life's been great, and I owe a lot of that to you, just for giving me a chance in this place. And thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for giving me a shot. And so many of my friends here in Chicago like Taylor Samala from Digital Third Coast right over here. We still kick it all the time. I see the guys from Digital Third Coast all the time. I see Noah.
Good.
So thank you to your face. I just wanted to see your face say thank you for getting me started. And I'm so excited for you. You're right back in the driver's seat. You're right back doing what you do best. So I'm very happy to have had a chance to talk to you, and let's connect again down the road.
Mark, you think I'm going to let you go far from me now that we've reconnected? I'm so proud of you, man, and everything that you're doing. And the pleasure is all mine. And I'm here for you, bub. Okay?
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
All right, buddy.
Talk soon.
Yeah.